Welcome, friends. Today in the kitchen, we're going to make corned beef hash. A couple of nights ago, Jules and I had a little piece of corned beef, and there's some left over. So I'm going to do this recipe. Now, this to me isn't so much a recipe as it is a method, because we never have the exact same amount of corned beef left over. So my method is I look at how much corned beef I have, and then I do roughly the same amount of potato and chopped white onion. So the onion's already chopped up. The potato is also chopped up and it's been boiled already, so it is already cooked. Now, I've got a cast iron frying pan. I've got a pat of butter in there. The butter is melting. In goes the onion, and I'm just going to start softening that. While the onion softens, I'm going to cut up the corned beef. And this dish gets its name from haché, which just means cut. So you can dice this as finely or as coarsely as you wish. This time I'm going to do it about the same size, maybe just a little bit smaller than the potato pieces, just to kind of keep everything on the same scale. Okay, keep an eye on the onions. You don't want them to brown or burn. Okay, so the onions have maybe got a little more color than I wanted, but we're going to throw in the potatoes at this point and start cooking those in as well. Okay, I started out with maybe just a little bit more than a tablespoon of butter. If the pan starts to dry out, add more. This is one of those things where you just have to watch what's going on, you have to roll with it, make some decisions, and if you need more butter, put more butter in. Now, moving on to spices. I like a little bit of paprika and a little bit of dried mustard along with some freshly cracked pepper. I usually don't add salt because I find there's enough salt in the corned beef. And if you're doing this with canned corned beef, there's more than enough salt in there. And I do enjoy it with canned corned beef. I know a lot of people say you can't make it with canned corned beef, but I really do enjoy that version. So I think the potatoes and the onions are looking pretty good. In goes the corned beef. And yeah, I could have used a bigger frying pan, but you know, this is what I started out with. It's gonna have to do. So we're just gonna mix that in. Now, as the corned beef heats up, it's gonna release a lot of fat. So I'm tempted to put in another pat of butter, but I'm gonna wait and just see what happens. And at this point, I'm just gonna pat it down, and I'm not gonna play with it too much. But I am going to sprinkle on a little bit of paprika and a little bit of mustard. And these are to taste, totally to taste. When you're cooking a savory dish like this, for me to tell you to put in a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half, it's really up to you. And there might be other spices that you want to use. Don't be afraid to experiment. Find what works for you. Now we wait. Okay, let's give this a flip. There we go, nice and brown and crusty on the bottom. Okay, just flip it just a little bit more, stir it around, pat it down again so that we can get a nice brown crispy crust on the bottom. And I gave it a little bit of taste. I think just a tiny bit more paprika and a little bit more mustard. And I don't worry too much about mixing the spices in. They will get mixed in the next turn. Hey, Jules.
Hey, that smells good.
We have some corned beef hash to taste.
Ooh. Oops.
Woohoo! This means we're having eggs for supper.
I started with the potato. It was very good. Nice and salty.
Yeah,
We all like it.
yeah. And so I didn't add any salt. The salt just comes from the corned beef, which is great. And so a little bit of mustard, a little bit of paprika.
Yeah, I can put that with a runny egg and
Yeah, runny egg, piece of toast. Or I could just eat it all on its own. I can make a meal out of that all on its own. Okay, stop. This is a winner. We know it's a winner. Stop eating, you'll ruin your supper. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.